Welcome, help me reach 4,000 subscribers. Your support keeps me creating the intense, emotional, and suspense-packed stories you love on Breakup Cheater. Like the video, drop a comment, subscribe for more jaw-dropping betrayal stories. Every click truly means the world. Thank you for being part of this growing family. I never imagined a single piece of paper could break me. Yet, there I was, sitting at the edge of our king-sized bed, staring at the crisp white sheet in my hands, trembling like I'd just been electrocuted. The words at the top were simple, almost absurd. Sign these rules or it's over. I looked up at her, my wife, my Sarah, who stood across the room, arms crossed, heels clicking against the hardwood floor. Her friends huddled around the sofa, giggling as if this was some ridiculous game. Her laughter cut through the air, sharp and careless. And in that moment, something inside me began to die. "Mark, seriously," she said, her tone teasing but edged with a hardness I hadn't heard in years. "It's either these rules or, well, make it easier on yourself." I gritted my teeth. "Rules?" I echoed, my voice barely containing the disbelief. "You mean like a list of how I'm supposed to live my life?" She tilted her head, her hair brushing her shoulder. "Exactly. Things like no more late nights with friends, check in every hour, no going out without asking me. You'll see the rest. It's all in there." She waved a manicured hand toward the paper. Her friends erupted in laughter, their high-pitched giggles bouncing off the walls. I could feel their amusement as if it were knives. I swallowed hard, forcing myself to speak calmly. "Sarah, I don't sign things like this. Marriage isn't a contract of rules. It's trust." She smirked, taking a step closer, her perfume, once comforting, now suffocating, filling my lungs. "Trust doesn't get you anywhere, Mark. Rules do. Sign it or we're done." The audacity of it made my chest tighten. My mind raced, a storm of confusion and anger, until one thought came sharper than the rest. This isn't love. This is control. I set the paper down on the bed and looked her straight in the eyes. "You know what, Sarah? I think we should make it official." Her brow furrowed. "Official?" she asked, a slight tremor of irritation in her voice. "What are you talking about?" I reached into the drawer beside me and pulled out the divorce papers I'd been contemplating for months but had never dared to touch. My hands were steady now, fueled by a quiet fury that had been simmering beneath the surface. I slid the papers across the bed toward her. Her friends froze, the laughter dying in their throats. Sarah's face went pale, her eyes wide. "Mark, what is this?" "I'm not signing your list of rules," I said, voice calm but firm. "I'm signing the end of this marriage. I've realized that love isn't supposed to feel like a checklist. And apparently for you it never did." A cold silence filled the room. I could hear my own heartbeat, loud and uneven. The betrayal didn't come from this absurd list. No, it came from the slow, almost imperceptible way I'd realized over the past year that the woman I married had been changing, slipping away from me in subtle, painful ways. The late nights, the secret messages on her phone, the sudden excuses for why she couldn't meet my family, the perfume that didn't belong to her. All of it was a puzzle I had refused to see. Till now. You can't just," she stammered, her voice losing that smug confidence. We can fix this." "I can." "No," I interrupted gently but firmly. "We can't. I can't live like a prisoner in my own life. And frankly, Sarah, I've been blind to a lot, haven't I?" Her friends shifted uncomfortably on the sofa, glancing at each other. I could see the judgment, the realization that this wasn't a joke. "You knew," Sarah whispered, almost to herself. "You knew all along." He nodded. "I didn't want to see it. I kept hoping the late nights were just work, that the distance was just stress. But when I found the messages, the hotel bookings, the lies, I realized you'd already checked out of this marriage long before I did." Her hands flew to her mouth, and for the first time, I saw fear there, raw and unmasked. "Mark, it's not what you think." Don't," I said. "Just don't." I stood, pacing the room, feeling a mixture of grief and relief wash over me. Years of love, laughter, shared dreams. And now it all lay bare, stripped of pretense. I felt my chest tighten as I remembered the first time I saw her. The way her laugh had made me feel like the only man in the world. The way we had planned a life together, believing in forever. And now she offered me rules, not love. Sarah's voice was small. So, that's it. Yes, I said simply. That's it. Her friends sat frozen, unsure whether to speak, to intervene, to laugh again. I ignored them. I focused on her, the woman I had loved more than anything. I gave you everything, I whispered, almost to myself. My heart, my trust, my life. And you, she said sharply, almost bitterly, gave me rules. And you weren't enough. The words stabbed me. I shook my head, fighting tears I refused to let fall. Sarah, I was never the problem. You were. You wanted control, not love. I wanted honesty. I wanted partnership. She opened her mouth, but no words came. For a moment, I saw a flicker of the woman I had once loved. Vulnerable, afraid, human. But it was gone as quickly as it appeared, replaced by the same hard, arrogant mask she had worn for months. I picked up the divorce papers and signed my name with a deliberate, steady hand. Each stroke of the pen felt like both an ending and a liberation. There, I said, placing the papers neatly on the bed. Done. Sarah's friends finally spoke, their laughter now gone, replaced by whispered murmurs. One of them muttered, "Wow. I didn't think he had it in him." I ignored them. I focused on leaving the room, leaving the house, leaving the life that had become a cage of lies. I paused at the door, looking back at her one last time. "Goodbye, Sarah," I said softly, and the words felt like the first breath of air after being underwater for years. She didn't answer. She just stared, her face a mixture of disbelief, anger, and perhaps regret. The drive to my apartment was quiet. I didn't turn on the radio. I didn't call anyone. I just drove, letting the road carry me away from everything I had known, everything I had loved, everything that had betrayed me. When I finally walked into my apartment, I sank onto the couch and buried my face in my hands. The tears came then, not out of weakness, but because the weight of the betrayal, the heartbreak, the realization that my marriage had ended. Not with a fight, not with a dramatic confrontation, but with a paper and a list of rules, was finally too heavy to carry alone. Hours passed. The night deepened. I stared at the ceiling, thinking of all the small moments, the quiet laughter, the whispered promises. How fragile they had been. How easily they shattered. And then I thought of myself. Not the husband I had been, not the man who had been blind to the truth, but the man I could still become. Free. Whole. Honest. The pain didn't disappear. It wouldn't, not quickly. Betrayal leaves scars. But I knew, as I sat there alone in the quiet, that I would heal. That I would reclaim the pieces of myself that had been lost in the years of compromise and submission to someone else's control. I didn't need rules to live. I needed freedom, dignity, and truth. And for the first time in a long time I had them. Morning came, sunlight spilling through the window, casting a warm glow across the room. I poured a cup of coffee and sat by the window, watching the world move on without me, or rather, with me moving forward. I knew the road ahead would be lonely at times, filled with memories that would sting like salt in a wound. But I also knew that for the first time in years, I wasn't just surviving, I was living. And somewhere deep inside, beneath the sorrow, the anger, the heartbreak, a small, stubborn ember of hope burned. Because even though Sarah had betrayed me, even though the laughter of her friends had echoed like a cruel reminder, I had not lost myself. I had won myself back. And that, I realized, was everything.